Hello, Aluxers, and welcome back. Whatever kind of 2020 you were planning back in January, we think it's safe to say it's turning out drastically different from what you had in mind. Restrictions due to the coronavirus are gradually being erased around the world, and in some cases reinstated because the pandemic is far from over. And on top of that, we're now facing a recession. Unemployment is rising, businesses are shutting down, stocks are volatile, and sorry to give you more bad news, the recession is just beginning. But let's not forget to stay positive about it, because we hope in today's video we'll give you some practical survival skills to get through these tough times and even thrive to come out even stronger than before, in our careers, in our finances, and in ourselves. And remember that the answer to tough times isn't to hang our heads in despair, but to take action. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. So let's find out how, with 15 ways to prepare for a recession. Number 1. Cut your spending. To prepare for difficult times, step 1 is to spend accordingly, and that means keep your spending right down on things that aren't necessities. Subscriptions you don't use? Definitely get rid of them. Ones that you use but don't need? Have a good think about it. Gym membership? Maybe lockdown taught you how well you can do your workouts at home and you can consider getting rid of that one too. Meals out, trips and vacations? Sure, you still need to treat yourself sometimes, and your chances to do these probably have been limited in recent months. But if you're suddenly able to do them with lockdown over, don't go crazy. Check your spending and don't go overboard. Number 2. Get budgeting. Making a budget and sticking to it is the cornerstone of getting your personal finances together, and if you're not keeping track of what you're spending your money on, you're probably throwing a lot of it away. So record how much you're spending, set yourself targets, and try your best to stick to them. Usually a 50-30-20 split is recommended. That means 50% on necessities, rent or mortgage, phone, internet, other utilities, groceries, medical bills, insurance, you get the picture. 30% on wants, entertainment, hobbies, trips and vacations, and 20% on savings and investments. For tougher times like the ones we're facing, if possible, switch the second and third figures and make it 20% for wants, and push up the figure for savings and investments to 30%, or even higher if you can. You're going to want to put these into an emergency fund. And speaking of, number 3, set up an emergency fund. Having cash for emergencies is a basic of personal finance at the best of times, so in a recession, it's a must. You never know when disaster is going to strike, getting laid off or your work drying up. In a recession, the chances of this happening shoot up, which is why you should have enough money in the bank to last you at least 3 months if you're stuck without income, and if possible, 6 is better. If you've done your budgeting, you'll know how much you need for basic survival needs. Calculate what you need for these 3 months and keep saving until you've got that. And as we said, if you can go on until you're covered for 6 months, better still. Once you've got between 3 to 6 months of emergency funds, you can start putting the rest into investments, which will help you thrive beyond the recession. And we'll get to that part soon. Number 4. Pay off your debts. If you've got debts and you're able to get rid of them now, this should be a priority. A few months down the line, you could find yourself in a squeeze for money, and making the minimum payments could get tricky, and falling behind with these could mean problems that will snowball, like increasing debts and a bad credit rating. So get rid of your debts now and you'll thank yourself later. If you've got a number of debts, list them according to their interest rates, and first pay off the ones with the higher rates. If you've got a credit card, there's a good chance that's your first priority to get rid of, as their interest rates are sky high, and needless to say, once you've gotten rid of your debt, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't take on any more. Number 5. If you can't pay off your debt, look into debt relief. Some lenders are offering options like debt deferment or forbearance. Call your bank or lender and find out what options are available, but view this as a short-term strategy, because that's what it is. Lenders may be kind to you for a while, but before long they'll want their money back. Also, if you have an excellent credit rating, it may be possible to move credit card debt onto zero-interest credit. Getting rid of your debt is the better course to take, but if it's not possible, at least look into your options. Number 6. Set up a high-interest account. This is where you're going to put your emergency fund. It won't be the biggest moneymaker on the list, but if things get tough, every bit counts. Regular bank accounts have close to zero interest rate, so shop around to find a high-interest savings account. The interest won't be amazing, but at least there'll be some. And maybe even more important, having your emergency fund in a separate bank account will help you resist temptation to dip into it when you don't need to. Number 7. Prove how valuable you are in your workplace. We admit this is assuming you still have a job right now. If you don't, there's plenty of advice ahead. But even if your workspace is still safe, in a recession, that could change when you least expect it. So prove how valuable you are. Take on projects, learn new things, and apply them. Go the extra mile. When jobs get cut back, you'll be in a better position of keeping yours. And even if you're unlucky, at least you'd be able to put all the things you've done and all the skills you've learned on your CV and be in a better position to find a new job. Number 8. Start a side hustle. In a recession, the benefits of doing this are double. First, it'll get you a little extra income on top of your 9-to-5. And second, if your 9-to-5 is affected, it'll give you a fallback. And the good news is it's never been easier to set up a side hustle. Ideally, you want to find something you've got a passion or a talent for. Something you used to do as a hobby could work. But now you're going to make money from it as a freelancer. Perhaps you've had this in mind for years but have never taken that step. Now is the time. If you've got a specialist skill in any area, you could start making money straight away by giving tutoring lessons in it. And yes, in most cases you can do this over teleconferencing. As a longer-term project, you could set up a blog or a YouTube channel that you might just be able to monetize later on. If you're not sure what you can do, go to sites like Fiverr and Upwork and find what kind of freelancing jobs are in demand. Even try sites like Etsy, where you can sell crafts, or Teespring, where you can design and sell t-shirts. Just start searching and you'll be surprised with the possibilities you might find. Number 9. Get new skill sets. We've talked about making yourself valuable at work, and getting new work-related skills and qualifications is a great way to do this. Like improving your Excel skills, your photo, video editing, or programming skills, or whatever is relevant in your line of work. And we've also talked about setting up a side hustle. Of course, freelancers with more highly developed skill sets and qualifications earn more than those with basic skill sets. And with micro-credentials becoming an even bigger thing, often with very reasonable prices, it's never been easier to upgrade your skills. Doing this will help you in the long term as well, because you'll keep these skills for life. Number 10. Get networking. Like the last 2 points, this is a productive way of putting your time to use if you've been made redundant or working hours reduced. And even if you haven't, it's still a great thing to do. Thinking of moving to a different line of work? Get talking to people in that field about how to get in. Thinking of working for a different organization? Talk to people who already work there. Or if you set up a side hustle, talk to freelancers who've done it themselves and see if you can learn from them. Present yourself as somebody who's savvy, enthusiastic, and willing to learn. That way, when they hear of an opportunity, they'll be more likely to reach out to you. Number 11. Keep your CV updated. If you're following the advice on this list, you'll be learning new skills and taking on new challenges. Make sure you record them all on your CV and keep it up to date. In these fast-moving times, when you're constantly on the lookout for new possibilities, opportunities can come up at any moment. Be able to react to them by sending off your up-to-date CV promptly. And also keep your LinkedIn profile ready too. Number 12. Consider changing your living situation. If you're in a crunch when it comes to money, there are a number of options you can consider here. If you're renting, of course, you could think about moving somewhere less expensive. And if you own the place you live in, or if your contract as a tenant allows it, think about getting a roommate. For owners, one way you can get a cash influx is by remortgaging your home, or getting a home equity loan, but only if absolutely necessary. And be sure to speak to an expert with good credentials, because in a worst-case scenario, it could mean losing your home. Number 13. Keep on investing. If you regularly put money into long-term investments, you might be hesitating right now. It's natural to think that in a recession, investing is the last thing you should be doing. You're thinking, isn't the stock market going to keep on falling? Shouldn't I stop investing until stocks have hit rock bottom and then buy? Well, the expert advice is simple. Keep investing as usual. Remember, history shows us that every recession until now has been followed by a long-term upswing. the stock market recovers to levels higher than ever before, and it rewards people who carried on investing. Let's take a look at the last Great Depression of 2008. Investors who began investing $50 a month in an S&P 500 fund 2 years before stocks hit an all-time low would have made overall gains of $12,000 by March 2018. And what about trying to time it right? To sell as the market's about to fall and buy just before it goes up? This is incredibly difficult to do, even for the professional investors. And if you attempt it, chances are you'll fail badly, so the safest strategy is to just keep on investing as usual. Number 14. Diversify your investments. Unless you're an expert investor, you're not going to want to bet huge amounts of money on one stock. The saying, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket," is especially true when it comes to the stock market. For people who don't have professional investing skills, place most of your investments into portfolios of stocks, like index tracker funds, rather than individual stocks. This is true all of the time, but even more so in recessions when the stock market is especially volatile. Number 15. Take a long-term approach to investing. As an investor looking to increase your long-term wealth, you should be playing the long-term game. Maybe one of your stocks lost 20% in a week. Maybe the entire stock market took a nosedive and affected your index fund badly. But the history of the stock market tells us it will gain it all back. So avoid the temptation to check your stock's performance every day. Unless you're doing risky short-term trades, which we don't recommend unless you really know what you're doing, check it once a week maximum. It'll save you stress and time, and have faith in the long-term upward trend of the stock market. And with that, Aluxers, here we are at the end. We know everyone's situation is different. Different people have different concerns right now and different worries about what will affect them in the recession. So we'd like to ask you, what do you think will be the biggest challenges of the upcoming months and years? Let us know in the comments. And of course, as a bonus, stay healthy and stay safe. We've left this for the bonus because we think it should be kind of obvious, but from what we've seen recently on the news and from what's going on around us, a lot of people still need it pointed out. We all know that the biggest cause of this recession is the coronavirus, and hopefully we're all aware that it's still a big threat, and your ability to keep your job, develop a side hustle, upgrade your skills, and basically be in control of your finances and career is definitely affected when you're not healthy or unable to work. And as we're all in this together, let's just remind ourselves, the more people ignoring the advice of health experts, the more people think they're immune and hang out in crowded bars because it's time to celebrate the end of lockdown, the worse this situation is going to get for all of us. So as long as the virus is a threat, take the advice of those who know best for your own sake and for everybody else's. Social distance, avoid crowded spaces, and when this is impossible and you can't stay 2 meters apart, wear a mask. Okay, we'll stop there. You've heard it a million times, you don't need us to repeat it. Protect your health, Aluxers, and your ability to stay in control of things, and be sure to stay safe. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.